Wagwan, everyone, and welcome to Film Shrapnel, your one-stop spot for everything movies. My name's Tobias.
And my name is Craig. Hello.
And this is Jackie Chan, a retrospective.
Yeah, we're gonna end our how it's like Jackie Chan month. So how many have we done now? We did I think we've done like 5 or 6 movies now.
We've done a fair few. We've done Spiritual Kung Fu, Drunken Master, Legend of Drunken Master, Super Cop, Armor of God 2, and now Wheels on Meals as well. So like 6 movies.
Yeah, quite a lot. I feel like there's still so much we could watch, but we can only squeeze so much
Absolutely.
into a month.
I know that this is what I'm saying. We absolutely could do another month and we still won't feel like we've watched, even scratched the surface. Do you know what I mean? We focus primarily on 70s, 80s, and early 90s this month. But like the later into the 90s you get is where Jackie Chan becomes more of a sort of global powerhouse. And then you get movies like Who Am I, Shanghai Noon, Rush Hour. I still think we probably could have watched Rumble in the Bronx, man. Rumble in the Bronx is a great one. I really like Rumble in the Bronx.
I remember liking that one. I can't remember it too well, but I know I liked it. Yeah.
Oh, it's great, man. It's really, really good. And you know what? A coherent story, which is quite rare in some of these. So yeah, I really like Rumble in the Bronx. Really good little flick.
Yeah. So I guess from what we've watched, we can really discuss Chan's career from like the late 70s to the early 90s. We've got about maybe like 14, 15 years there to discuss. Perhaps we could have done a bit more 80s stuff actually.
Yeah.
But that's our retrospective on our work.
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. I also would have liked to have seen a bit more of his 2000 stuff, just to compare it to his early stuff and his like mid-career kind of stuff.
I would say that his 2000 stuff is interesting. It's a really mixed bag. You'll have. I think Rush Hour 2 is really good. I really like Rush Hour 2. I have a lot of fun with that film. And then you'll have like that he's done a film called The Medallion, which is just so bad. So yeah, like his 2000s work is a bit of a mixed bag. Like I think you mentioned it to me the other day that there was like that Spy Next Door one that's just crap.
Yeah. I think by this point he's also gotten pretty old, and like he's known for doing his own stunts, and like when he gets like, I don't know how old he is now, he must be pushing 70. He just can't keep doing that. He literally just can't keep forcing himself. I see now that he is 69 years old. So yeah, he's literally just about to become 70. Yeah, born in 1954.
So if you've got him up online, can you have a look at like if he's got any projects coming up in pre-production?
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Well, he must do, but like you can't help but think, how much longer has he got? Before it's like, okay, I really can't do these movies anymore. Because I could see him taking a step back and playing like comedic characters in American rom-coms.
Yeah, I see. Actually, he does have 3 films in the works. One of them, I'm really surprised. Rush Hour 4. There is also a film called Legend and New Police Story 2. But that's before I even mention. He's playing Splinter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new film that came out this year. I didn't know that. But it's voice only. So yeah, I guess he's also to that point where he's just doing like voices. I see some of his also other work that he's done have been voices and cameos.
Wasn't Master Splinter meant to be Japanese?
I don't know, to be honest. You know more about this than I do.
They keep doing this though, don't they? They always cast Jackie to play a character, like a classic character who's Japanese, but it's like, well, Jackie Chan's the most famous Asian guy, so we'll get him to do it. Like they
Yeah,
did it, they did it with the Karate Kid, but it's like
they did.
it's literally called Karate Kid. Karate is Japanese, like, and so why don't you could have renamed the movie? You go Kung Fu Kid, makes more sense. Like I wouldn't actually be that mad if you'd done that, but no, you still call it the Karate Kid.
Mm.
Like, and you still change his name to Mr. Lee. And it's like, well, if it's not Mr. Miyagi, then it's not Karate Kid for me.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit offensive. They just kind of group Asian guys together as
Yeah.
one. It's not okay, really.
Honestly, I wouldn't have minded if you said this is a Chinese retelling of the Karate Kid. We're doing the Kung Fu Kid. Actually, wouldn't have minded that if you'd specified it.
Yeah, I see also that you were right. Splinter was supposed to be Japanese. So
There
yeah,
you go. There you go. So there does seem to be this sort of slot Jackie Chan into a Japanese role
or
because
any Asian role really.
any Asian role because he's the most famous Asian actor. It's it's
Mm.
it's quite odd.
Yeah, I agree. But back to his career, like, yeah, he's still doing stuff, but it really looks like he is. Like I see cameo, voice only, presenter only. I see also there's one film coming out next year called The Diary. He's a director, producer, and writer. So like I think that he is
Ooh.
starting to take more of a backseat. He's not doing much physical stuff as he used to, which yeah, he's 70 almost, so makes sense.
I mean, look,
Um,
he's always written and directed throughout his career, ever since the early days. But I
that's
would
true.
be, but I would be interested to see what he could put together if it wasn't like if martial arts wasn't his main focus, but he wanted to tell a story. Because I feel like a lot of these films, it just feels like they come up with ideas for great action set pieces, and then the other scenes are just written to connect the dots and they're not really bothered about the story. That's how a lot of these movies feel to me. Certainly the earlier ones. I think we could make that argument about Armor of God 2 and Wheels on Meals. I think you
Hmm.
can make the argument that, the. I mean, I think Armor of God 2 is pretty coherent in all fairness. I think you can follow it.
More coherent than Wheels on Meals.
Well, this is the thing,
Uh,
Wheels on Meals, it really does feel so disjointed. And I could think of 1,001 other examples like that as well. Um, but the thing is that there are a lot to love in his films as well. You can see why he's become the icon that he is.
yeah, no doubt. Like I've said this before in a few other podcast episodes, that he kind of married martial arts with this kind of slapstick comedy.
Mm.
Uh, like I have always said, kind of a bit like Chaplin in the kind of way. He brought Chaplin
I mean,
slapstick humor
he does
into
cite
it.
Buster Keaton as like one of his main influences in his whole career.
Yeah.
Like he's a big Buster Keaton fan.
Yeah, and like he's not just a martial arts guy. He's also an got acrobatic experience as
Hmm.
well. So he marries it all together. He marries the slapstick and the martial arts with the acrobatics, and obviously he can act.
But the
Hmm?
thing is, can he act in English? I know we haven't done any movies in the last month where they're English speaking movies, but when he breaks Hollywood, his acting really doesn't hold up.
Yeah, yeah. I remember watching for like Rush Hour, the first Rush Hour film. When you watch the bloopers, you see he struggles sometimes to get his English correct. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Um,
he does. But these movies, I think the acting is a lot better. A
yeah,
lot better.
and I think also as well, by the point that reaches Hollywood, he's working with people that are a lot more experienced and a lot more financially backed. I think a lot of the guys that he started off with in Hong Kong were like starting from the beginning, like, okay, we don't have much experience, we don't have much cash, we're just going to do what we can. And like you said before, in the early days, in the 70s, they're just babbing out film after film after film. And you can really see, like, if you watch Spiritual Kung Fu and the first Drunken Master movie, they're very low budget. And then as soon as we get to the 80s, bam, like money really starts pouring in. And then by the 90s, it's like there's a big, like for example, Police Story 3. There's a lot of money being shown there, and also in Armor of God 2 as well. Like, yeah, we talk about the influence of Jackie Chan. Uh, I think really you had Bruce Lee movies before, then Bruce Lee passed away, and then Jackie Chan tried to basically fill his shoes, but he didn't just
No,
carry
no, 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 no,
on.
no,
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 like
no.
what I got
Well, so
continue.
I have to cut you off there before you embarrass yourself, Craig.
Go on.
But so the thing is, Jackie has always said, because people always do make this comparison between him and Bruce Lee, and I think you can easily do it because obviously Bruce Lee died way too young, and
Hmm.
like just imagine the career he could have kept, like went on to have, like it's just mind blowing the amount of amazing movies we've missed out on that Bruce Lee had died. And it was pretty, like, I think people wanted someone to replace him. People wanted someone to fill the shoes. And Jackie has always said, I don't like being compared to him, primarily
Hmm.
because we are not the same at all. I've tried very hard to do everything I can to do everything that to not be Bruce. Bruce was very stoic, very collected. He was very traditional. He did everything a certain way. He was focused. Whereas my characters are not like that. We're more,
That's very true.
joyful. We're joyful. We're comedic. We're, we're a different side to the coin. So, he's tried very hard not to be like Bruce, and I think he's earned uh, to not be compared to him because they are very different. I would say Jet Li is more comparable to Bruce Lee. I think
Yes.
they've got a very similar. Um, they sort of command a similar kind of presence on screen. I think Jet
Hmm.
Li's also very very stoic, but I would argue Jet Li's a better actor. Like in terms of like uh, Hong Kong martial arts stars, the ones that I think are the better actors that have transitioned over to Hollywood, I would say Jet Li definitely is actually a decent little actor, and also Chow Yun Fat. I really like him. Anytime he
Hmm.
pops up, he's really good. And Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen's also awesome. He's in the new John Wick movie. I love Donnie Yen. He's great, really good little actor. So the thing is, and I think I've just listed off some of the because you were talking about how in the last podcast how Sammo Hung, Jackie Chan, and Young One,
Biao Yang or Yen
Biao
Biao.
Biao Biang.
Yeah.
They're 3 of 7. I think that are like
Yes.
in this school. I think I've just named a couple of others that would be in that 7. And I think like certainly Chow Yun Fat and Donnie Yen, really underrated actors. I think like
Mm.
I love Donnie Yen in the new John Wick movie. I think he steals the whole movie. And you've got Bill Skarsgård also being brilliant in it, but I really do think Donnie Yen steals the movie. He's brilliant
Mm.
in it. He really is excellent. Jackie Chan, um, I just, I think he's Mr. Nice, isn't he? He's Mr. Nice.
Yeah.
That's how he rolls. And when he, like the foreigner, he's still Mr. Nice, but he goes badass. But like he's always a nice dude. And like yeah, sometimes you're like these other guys, they can play nice but they can also play rough around the edges. um I'm pretty sure Donnie Yen's the bad guy in Rush Hour 2, and he's great in it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Donnie Yen. And yeah, I feel like as iconic because these are the guys that Jackie Chan, like they wouldn't exist without Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan wouldn't exist without Bruce Lee. Like you can really see the chain of
That's what I was kind of getting at when I mentioned Bruce Lee earlier. There was like a chain,
Mm,
and kind of carrying the
a knock,
mantle of making like
yeah,
martial arts films popular
this
and like
knock-on
bringing it
effect.
into pop culture and becoming like, because how many films now, when you watch when you watch an action film today or any film with some action, I wonder how much influence martial arts films had in choreography of fights. Because before like these Hong Kong martial arts movies started to gain popularity, I don't think many Western films had as amazing fight choreography as that.
Well, I mean, no, but I think we know where the turning point is, don't we? I'd say 1999, a little known film came out that, you might not have heard of, Craig. You might have heard of it. Uh, it's called The Matrix. Uh, but yeah, like The Matrix was so inspired by. Let's not forget that the guy who did the choreography on The Matrix went on to direct the John Wick franchise.
ah,
Um, and he is highly inspired by martial arts films. He is a very uh, impressive martial artist himself. I'm not sure where he's from. I think he might be from Hong Kong, but I'm not entirely sure. Um,
mm,
but he loves all martial arts films, and he really draws from that when he creates, sort of when he does the choreography and stuff. And that, I think, his work on The Matrix really sort of brought it back to sort of mainstream Hollywood, and then action started being shot differently. uh because I'd make the point. I think I made it at the same point in an earlier pod, but I'll make it again, where when Jackie Chan was in Rush Hour, there's a scene in Rush Hour where a car goes to crash into him and he jumps over it and it hits the garbage uh, skip, and it's cut really fast. And Jackie Chan's attitude is, well, look, if you'd shot that in Hong Kong, we wouldn't have cut away from that at all. We barely would have edited it. We'd have just shot it from three different angles, and then we would have just played you in slow motion all three angles to show you how dangerous the stunt was, rather than making it quick cuts so you can barely see anything to keep the tempo of the action high paced, because that's what Hollywood does. They're interested in high paced, high octane action. And Hong Kong cinema, it's more about the artistry of it, and like how, like, again, the stunt work is done in such a way where it's part of the selling point. Like, look how dangerous this is. It's amazing to watch, and it's amazing because it's so dangerous. And what more can you enjoy about it than the heroes that you're actually watching in the movie are really doing these stunts? Like, it's
yeah.
incredible. It's such an amazing selling point for movies, and it's really dangerous. Like, I feel I'm terrified for these guys, but like, my God, does it really help sell your movie? It's a really unique selling point.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I think a massive thing that earned Jackie Chan a lot of respect was when you watch a film and then you get all the way to the end and then you see the bloopers and then you see all the times things messed
Mm,
up. And then because you wouldn't necessarily know if you're not a massive film guy that he does most of his stunts and so do the other
yeah,
guys he works with. And then when you watch that, you're, oh fuck, he really did that. Like for example, most recently, when we watched Drunken Master 2, at the end of that film, there's a fight where Chan falls on hot coals. And when I first saw that, like in the initial fight, I thought that was not that couldn't be real. But then you see in the bloopers, oh shit, he really did fall on like these fucking hot coals, and like fuck, like the extra mile that he goes,
because
and like
this is it. The filmmaker and me would think that you just use fake coals.
yeah,
Like that, like you just do that. There's no need to actually shoot it with real hot coals. But no, Jackie wants the authenticity. He wants to do it on real hot coals. Or maybe it's part of his contract, to be fair.
Yeah.
How much do you think it costs to insure him to be in a movie?
Oh, I think probably one of the most expensive people to insure.
No, but there
Like,
must be there must be some kind of clause that you can do where it's like, but this is what he does. This is what he's known for. So
no, I don't think it works that way.
you can't over no, because come on, you can't overprice the. I get it if it like, and the same with Tom Cruise as well. It's like, look, these guys insist on doing this shit, so it's like, surely we should get a discount because
No,
they want
lawyers
to.
don't work that way, man. I'm pretty sure
No,
they don't.
no, I know. I just think they should put a discount in there. There should be like a sort of insane nutcase clause where, like, if you are mental enough to do this shit, then yeah, you should give them a discount on the insurance.
I bet like there's always got to be at least someone who's working on this film, or maybe one of the producers. Like, I wonder if they're gonna die in this one. Like,
Yeah, I bet. You know what? I bet all the people who work on a Jackie Chan film. That there's a guy that's worked on Jackie Chan films since 1978. He's just been like a miscellaneous crew member, like he holds the boom mic or whatever,
yeah,
and he's just been going around on every Jackie Chan set saying, "All right, I'll do you like 3-1 odds that he'll die." And he just hasn't died yet. And this guy has gone on to be a multi-millionaire. And all he
or
does is just take bets on whether he'll die or not.
or maybe he's lost a lot of money.
Or maybe, oh yeah, that's another way to look at it.
He's
Yeah,
he's massively in debt because he keeps thinking, okay, he's got to die in this one.
yeah,
He keeps living.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I like that. I actually, that would be a good film, wouldn't it? The guy who keeps losing this bet on Jackie Chan and his life. We should write that, Craig. I think that'd make a good film.
Yeah, it could be quite dark actually as well.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts then? If we wrap this up in some kind of way,
Well, I
how
think
like we have one. Let's say you've got one. This is your moment to say your your thoughts on Jackie Chan month.
so.
What would you say? What do you think?
Uh, so humor lands here and there. Obviously, the action is amazing. The way that he brings physical comedy into it is pretty amazing. We have some very intense fight scenes here and there, which I always appreciate, especially because it's such a big change in Chan's tone. Um, Undeniably made. I strongly believe he really made like action movies better, particularly
Yes.
as he became more famous and
More
well known in
well,
Hollywood.
more
He brought the standard up, I
and
think.
certainly more accessible as well.
Yeah, he really brought Hong Kong films, I think, to an international level. Uh, I will say that we what we haven't mentioned yet, which I think is a massive theme in all of the Chan films we've watched so far, misogyny is a big thing, and like I didn't notice
Yes.
that before. I think we both have said that. Like, there's a lot of it. It's worse in the earlier films. I think it kind of starts to peter out later on, but still, it's like fuck. It's quite surprising that they got away with doing that. I don't know if
Yeah.
Chan himself is really a misogynist, or it was just like the times that's how things were. That's how things were done. I didn't even think about how it could be seen as misogynistic. That's not even a thing. It's just she's a
I
woman.
mean, well,
Like,
do we have much misogyny in the movies that are set in like modern times? Because obviously, let's not forget that I certainly in Drunken Master, the misogyny displayed in that you could say is of the time that the movie is set, rather than the time the movie is made.
mm, no, I agree with you. Yeah, but it's
So
it's
it's,
a bit
but
hard to stomach do
I'm
isn't
not.
it?
I do agree, but I'm just trying to think: is there an example of one of the modern ones that that it is still misogynistic? Well, didn't we
Mm,
think that Super Cop was a bit misogynistic in places? He smacks a bum, doesn't he? He smacks a bum.
yeah, but I did
Yeah,
also like. that we had Michelle Yeoh, who arguably is the real super cop in that film,
Yeah.
who
This is
is
the
pretty
thing, yeah.
amazing.
That the thing is, yeah, she really is. I'd say a bigger badass than Jackie in that movie. She really outshines him.
Yeah.
Um, I really like that one. Um, okay, so I'll tell you what then. Why don't we like rate different categories, right? Because you went through a few. You brought up a few topics there that we could probably like talk about. So let's go comedy. So if on a scale of 1 to 10, uh, Jackie's comedy in like, so let's just sort of cover the last 15 years of the previous couple of episodes. So from like 1978 to 1993 or whatever it was. Uh,
Hmm.
a comedy out of 10. How are we looking?
Well, this is the thing as well. Um, we grew up. Well, you especially grew up watching Chan movies. I think a lot of the
Yeah.
Chan stuff that I saw growing up was probably '90s onwards.
Hmm.
Not some of the '80s stuff, but mostly '90s. And so I remember as a kid finding it funny, hilarious, even at points.
Yes.
As someone who is now 30 and looking
Yeah.
back at this, uh, sometimes I'm laughing for the wrong reasons. Sometimes I'm laughing because there's
Hmm.
something stupid, and
Yes.
the real humor doesn't really land. By the way, there was one thing I forgot to mention in our pod on Wheels on Meals. At one point, there was a street called Thanksgiving Street. I'm like, what the fuck? In Spain? What? Why is it called Thanksgiving Street? Like,
Strange.
so I'm laughing at stuff like this, and the what they think is funny doesn't really always land. They're again talking about misogyny. I think a lot of the humor around women, about touching women and this kind of shit, is supposed to be funny, but it's
Yeah.
creepy, and like so. I
The
don't know,
comedy
man.
the comedy doesn't always land, does it? That's
Yeah.
well. The thing is, and just to sort of circle round, I will say that these movies are not what I remember them to be. What I watched as a kid, as you say, as a kid, I watched them. I found them hilarious. I laughed. I loved them. And now, as a someone in my 30s, it's like this is painful in places, like cringy. It's like Tommy Wiseau's The Room level shit.
Yeah.
um However, I still maintain that the comedy used in the action, that's the comedy that shines. Now,
Yes.
sometimes it doesn't land. More often than not, it's cartoonish, it's slapstick. It might not be your cup of tea. That's for damn sure. It might not be everyone's thing. But you can't deny that it lends something new to the art form, and it really has sort of done a lot for martial arts movies, and
Mm-hmm.
it's influenced so much. So, in terms of that, I as much as it has to get a few deductions for um just sort of, as you say, just being tone deaf, maybe because we're from looking back at it from a more modern lens, it just comes off as cringy and offensive. I still think this does, his certainly his career, we're talking about his this as his early career. I think we still got to give him a minimum 7.58 for
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah. It's very, and that comedy really also helped make it more accessible. It
Hmm.
appealed to kids. It appealed to people who don't really care about action movies, but they like comedy. So
Yeah.
then it opened the door
Yes.
for that as well. It made it more wider reaching. Uh,
Yes.
so that's also very important. Like it really made it a lot like some of Chan stuff is really more family friendly as well, and that's a much
Absolutely.
bigger market. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't
we
agree.
also have to discuss Chan today. We kind of tiptoed around it a bit before, but now he's like, I think you know a lot more about this than I do. He's very pro China these days. Uh, we have, and I don't know what do we think about that necessarily, because maybe he's just getting old.
What
Maybe he
what
gets
what
something out
whatever
of it.
whatever we think about it will be cut from the podcast. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's
I
kind of
think I think
controversial.
I know it's so controversial. I actually think we've said more than we're allowed to say.
Yeah, you're worried, You're worried.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Well, no, I think we should be allowed to say what we think here. Otherwise, what's the point of doing this, to be honest?
That's a good point.
Why do you think that Chan has leaned so far this way? Like, maybe it's just a thing to keep going. I mean,
He always has been, perhaps he always has been.
that's
At the
true.
at the end of the day, we're not Chinese. We never grew up there, you know. So he definitely has far more context than we do, and perhaps for his personal journey, you know, he has a there's a reason for his leanings. Um, I do seem to recall that he was anti-China, pro-Hong Kong for a period of his career. But yeah, it does seem that he's reverted the other direction. But again, there must be a reason for that. He must have a reason for that, uh, and it'll be a personal one. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Um, Another category we need to talk about, not propaganda, um, action.
Yes, go on. Lead the
10
way,
out of
because I know you have a lot more to say about this than I do.
All I have to say is 10 out of 10. Boom, move on.
Okay, agreed.
10 out of 10 is perfect. I mean, look, we talk about comedy, and the comedy rating was only as high as it was because of the action. The action is what you wait for. The action is what you want. The action is the selling point of the movie. The action is the movie. It's the best shit. It's what you watch it for. It's great. I made this point with Wheels on Meals. The movie itself, I hate. Really, I don't hate it, but I really didn't like it. The action, I'd watch it again just because I know how good the action is. I didn't like the movie, loved the action. The action is great, and there are so many movies that we haven't covered this month that I'd love to still show you, Craig. Things like the first Police Story. Um, it's got such good stunt work in it, man. Like, it'll blow your mind. Young Master, another one I'd love to show you. One of
Can
my
I
all-time.
can I ask you a question? What's your favorite Jackie Chan fight ever? It's a hard
I mean,
question.
the thing is, I'm kind of biased to the more early stuff.
Hmm.
Me personally, my preference lies with like his 70s and 80s career, where it's like a more sort of old school traditional China martial arts schools against martial arts schools. Um, so like I like the fight in okay, so I don't know. I'm not sure if you. I'm going to give you like a couple, but because one of them I'm not sure if you'd even count as a fight, really. But it
Yeah.
is. In Young Master, again, one of my all-time favorites. The beginning of the film is a competition between two martial arts schools, but they're not fighting. They're doing. Do you know the dragon, the Chinese dragon costumes that take like four people to like be underneath to operate, and it's like a bit of material attached to a head of a dragon that can move.
Okay, go
Yeah,
on.
not a Western dragon, like an Eastern
Yeah,
dragon.
yeah, I understand.
They don't often have wings. They just sort of
Float through the
flying
air.
snaky things. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so they're both operating those one each, and the aim of the game is to collect these bags of money that are all scattered around this base. Basically like like different stands and stuff. So they're not just on the ground; they're climbing stuff, and they also have to like fight each other. But it's like a dance and stuff, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love that whole sequence. It's just stunning. Um, I also really love the fight scene at the end of Young Master, but I really love the fight scene at the end of the original Drunken Master. I'm a big fan of that fight scene. Love it. Um,
Maybe we should have watched that then.
We did watch the first Drunken Master.
I mean, sorry, Young Master.
Yeah, yeah, I would have liked to have watched Young Master with you, to be fair. It is a good
Sorry.
one. No, it's all right. I mean, we still have a podcast. It still could come around one day.
Yeah.
Um, what else do I love? Certainly in the movies we've watched for this month, my favorite fight scene is the one at the end of Drunken Master. My second favorite fight is the one at the end of Armor of God 2.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, with the
but
aeroplane. Yeah, that was
but the,
very good.
but I'd say the whole climax, the whole fight, because obviously they're fighting from the get go the moment they arrive, and then it gets interrupted with a bit of plot every now and again. But I'd just say the whole end sequence when they're fighting around the bombs, and then they're on the platforms, but then they're doing it in the airplane uh, area where they've got like the air pressure fucking everything up. Like
Mm.
they're different fights, but for me, it's all one big fight scene. Love all of that in Armor of God 2. And I'd say third place might be the one with Jackie and Benny in Wheels on Meals. Really, really good fight scene. Really raw, really brutal. What would you? Okay, so let's do that. What would your top three fight scenes of the month be?
It's tricky to say.
I know you love Drunken Master 2, the
It's
fight
hard
scene
to
in
beat.
that.
I haven't seen as many as you have, and I'm not such a big action guy as you are. But yeah, that fight scene at the end of Drunken Master 2, I think I've watched it like about 3 or 4 times. Uh, I heard it was good before we watched the film, so I watched that clip first on YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay, that's yeah, like it's really like very when I think there are moments where Chan where he has fight scenes where are very intense and there's some anger or something behind it. I don't know. I don't know. They appeal to me more. They feel like a real fight. Um, so that final
Mm.
scene at the end of Drunken Master 2 is just nuts. And then also, yeah, with Benny Urquidez, if that's how you pronounce his name, also had some of that. I think, yeah, I think you actually mentioned when we were doing that pod that probably some of the fight scenes could have been longer in that film, and probably
Absolutely, yeah.
they could have milked that fight with Benny more. And
I
I think if
agree.
they did, I think they could have had something on the same level as Drunken Master 2. Um,
Yeah, I do
it's
agree.
it's not even just the fight though, because there's also stuff happening around the fight, which is quite interesting. Like you mentioned with the dragon. Uh, so, like for example, in Drunken Master 2, you have the whole thing. First, Chan is being beaten, and then he starts drinking, and then he just can't get the upper hand, and he gets angry, he starts smashing stuff. He has to take a second, and then all of a sudden he's just insane and beating the crap out of the other guy. And then also with Benny Akides, like you were saying, uh, he just can't get the upper hand. He has to take a minute to sit down and then start
Yeah.
fighting again and slow down. There's also that element to it where Chan's character has to make some kind of figure something out to to
Yeah, and
win.
I like that about Jackie Chan fights, that because he has
Yeah.
that there's often an opportunity for him to, show his like powers of deduction. You know, you know, we get to see how he can, sort of outbest the bad guy, because often the bad guy is usually someone more powerful than he is. That's always the best way to do it, though, isn't it? Like, you know, that's how you provide the stakes. I feel like, because the thing is, as much as I love Enter the Dragon, you never really feel that Bruce Lee won't be able to deal with Han. Han is like 30 years older than him and missing a hand. I really don't think he's going to beat you in a fight. But, you know, when these in these Jackie movies, you really do get a sense of like, these guys really should kick the crap out of him. But
Mm.
it's just the power of being a nice guy and a good guy, gets him through it. So would you? So in terms of then the action rating, come full circle, 10 out of 10. Would you give it?
Yeah, I don't think you can fault it. I mean, really, like one of the
No.
best action people ever. I
Yeah.
mean, who else can you really think of? I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme is pretty good. Uh,
I mean, that's an odd one to go for. I
I mean,
mean,
in terms of like fighting ability, like on because this is the first guy I came because he's also got a martial arts background. But you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, like you can have a look at. You could even talk about Jason Statham in that respect.
yeah, Jason Statham
Uh,
as well. And there
but
are
you could talk about. I mean, I'd say in terms of martial arts, no one is really because, like, the thing is, Jean Claude hasn't really been influential in terms of the martial arts.
it's
Uh,
just piggybacking off of it, I think, as a white guy.
well, the only thing Jean Claude has really been able to bring to the big screen is grown men doing the splits.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about him doing the splits.
Yeah, and because the thing is, he does it really well. He does it very, very well. And like, obviously, when he was younger, his bottom was very pert in the splits position, so they always had him in like really tight, like workout pants. So like you could see every sort of, you know, groove of his, body and bum. I might cut some of this.
It's
But
okay. You
yeah,
can talk about his
like,
ass if you want.
but the thing is, that really isn't much to offer into. But I do like Jean Claude. In all fairness, I think he's got a funny way about him. Yeah, I do enjoy him, but he's
Yeah.
not the best. He's not the
But what
best. I
my
mean,
point was is that there are many action stars uh, who you can't really fault them on the action.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe their acting is not always the best, the story's not always the best, the
Ah,
plot's not always the best.
well,
So, but you can't fault the action. The only person I'll give, like for example, the absolute opposite is Steven Seagal. By the way, like
yeah,
this is
yeah,
shit all around. It's
yeah.
supposed to be
I,
action, but it's just
I,
shit.
I was going to say, I think maybe we should do some Steven Seagal movies as well. Maybe a Steven Seagal month.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
might vomit.
yeah, but okay, so great that you brought it up. Next category then, acting. What would we give it on acting?
Um, I think Chan is a fair actor. I mean, we mentioned before acting in
He,
English, he's not always the best. He struggles.
but
Uh
he is always very charming.
yeah, he can do humor as well.
Yeah,
Um
I still enjoy watching him on screen, even when this is the thing. Sometimes you have those stars that aren't great as actors, but like they just have other qualities that you enjoy. I think Keanu Reeves is a really good example. Not the best actor in the world, but people just love him. He's just super nice and cool, and we just like him. You know, he's got a charm on screen, a certain charisma that no one else has quite got you know. And yeah, that's Jackie for you. Yeah, he's not the best in the movies, but he's still going to charm your pants off.
yeah, he's a leading man and he works as a leading man.
Yeah, absolutely. But he also, in the like the more modern movies, certainly we see it in Wheels on Meals as well. But like he does also work as an ensemble character too. You
Yeah.
know, uh, certainly as he's gotten older, he's really taken a back step, and certainly in American movies, he'll take on more of a mentor role or
Mhm.
an ensemble character.
Yeah.
No, but this is it. What's our rating?
Well, like
I'll give him like a 6.
a 6 in what? Acting.
Yeah, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 is fair.
6 is
Yeah.
fair.
He's not a
Right.
bad actor. He's not the most amazing, but he's not bad. He gets you won't really like have a problem with his acting. Like you will never really complain and say he's shit. You would never really
Hmm.
do that. But you won't be blown away.
Yeah, I get you. All right, then. Final category: plot,
Plot
story.
can be messy. We have
I
plenty.
I'm struggling to give it more than a 4.
Yeah,
Some of the
yeah.
plots are just ridiculous.
Like,
Like
I,
as much as I love the older movies and their sort of more simplistic format, they are very simple. You know, you disrespected my kung fu school, or you stole something from my kung fu school, or you have a revenge plot against my kung fu school, or I have a revenge plot against your kung fu school. But like it's all basically the same plot. Unfortunately, there's not much to separate them in terms of plot, but like but they're not really what you watch. The plots aren't what you watch them for, not always. But I do like Drunken Master. I do really like it. I like the plot. You get you get a little twist in Karate Ghostbuster with the Shaolin Temple main monk. Uh, so sometimes the plot. Actually, you know what? Yeah, all right. I'm bump up to 5.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe five is okay. I mean, it's hard to really gauge them because they kind of vary in terms of their plot, don't they? I mean, what do you think of Super Cup in terms of plot?
Forgettable.
But it
Uh,
made sense though, did it? Or did it not
it was
really? I mean,
coherent. Yeah, it was coherent.
yeah, I think
It
it was a
was
bit more
linear.
coherent than the
It was
other
straight.
others.
Yeah, definitely straightforward.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wouldn't call it like there wasn't much about it that set it apart. I mean, when I say
No.
it's not memorable, like I don't. I would say the main plot elements that were memorable, that are noteworthy, is that Michelle Yeoh is just as much of a super cop as Jackie is. That's really the main selling point, isn't it? Jackie Chan teaming up with a female badass.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
besides that big plot point, like I don't find the rest of the story, to be very noteworthy. It's not the story that it's worth watching for.
yeah. So maybe I agree with you. Perhaps maybe a five is probably the
But
best we can really get
but
it.
then what about Armor of God? Because it's all over the place, but like I think it makes sense. I think it's quite clear. I don't think you get lost in it, and it's quite fun. I think Armor of God 2 works in terms of plot.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take itself too seriously as well. It's a
Yeah,
bit silliness. There's some silly, yeah, a lot of silliness in that one actually, but you kind of give it a bit of a pass. But then it's also
let's.
one of those ones where I'm laughing at the oddities of the plot.
I mean, I was going to say let's not get even. Let's not even talk about Wheels on Meals. We've already talked about it in the podcast. But yeah, the plot is just garbage,
Yeah,
unfollowable.
yeah, I
Um,
was really struggling to keep track of that one.
what was the other? What was the other one we watched? Oh yeah, the second Drunken Master.
Drunk, yeah, that one was kind of odd, especially because of the age of Chan in that. It really felt like he was supposed to be younger, and
Yeah,
there's this strange relationship with his stepmother. Um, I don't really know. It felt, yeah, like Chan was playing someone who was 15, 20 years younger than he was, because he really looks like he's in his 40s there. He's
yeah.
like a kid, and like I don't know. Maybe it would have worked if there was a younger actor there. I don't know, but you can't really do that.
So you think we should have got someone else besides Jackie?
What if you just somehow de-aged Chan? But no, that wasn't going to happen, was it?
Well, yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I think. Well, you know what? I think final rating then influence 10
Oh,
out of 10.
yeah, influences. Like, not only did he make Hong Kong cinema like internationally known, I think he really brought action up a whole new level,
Yeah,
like internationally, like changed Hollywood forever with his action and his
Sh-
stunts.
showed showed Hollywood how versatile Asian action was. Because I
Yeah,
think they all assumed it was a certain way because of what Bruce Lee had shown them. But then Jackie comes about, and it's like we also do this too. and it really did show the versatility of the cinema coming out of Hong Kong. And America were absolutely ready for it. The West were absolutely ready for it. Um, but like I suppose we could say they were already waiting for it. Since Bruce Lee's death, they were crying out for it. I mean, Game of Death was the movie that came out after Enter the Dragon, and Bruce Lee only had shot like maybe like 20 minutes of it, so they had to
Mm.
finish the whole rest of the film without him. It's not very good. It's a garbled mess. I've only ever seen it the once, and I didn't think it was worth watching again. And it was a long time ago, so I don't remember much of it. I just remember thinking it's just such a mess. But this is it. People wanted it. People wanted them to complete it because it's like, we need more Bruce. That can't
Mm.
be it. He's only just broken the global zeitgeist. Don't tell me he's dead already. We can't be without him. And like I say, I think it's a travesty when you think about the career he could have had.
Yes.
But the thing is, I also think Jackie Chan would have had a very similar trajectory, even if Bruce Lee hadn't died. I think some people would make the argument that if Bruce Lee hadn't passed, Jackie Chan wouldn't be what he is. And I still maintain, I think Bruce Lee would have been massive. Bruce Lee would have been the most famous for sure. Everyone would love him. But I think Jackie Chan still would have had a meteoric climb uh, in the genre. 100%. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, in the same way that there has been room for Jet Li and Donnie Yen and other
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
exactly. There's always been room, and Chan's
Yeah.
style is not Bruce Lee's style. Chan
No,
has a
exactly.
different approach. So
Yeah, you get a
yeah.
different flavor. It's a different flavor. So, yeah, I think he absolutely still would have had a great career without, even with the shadow of Bruce Lee bearing over him. But sure, okay, maybe without the shadow of Bruce Lee, he was able to be at, maybe his rise might not have been as fast,
Mm.
perhaps.
Mm.
But I still couldn't see a world without Jackie Chan. To be fair, um, so yeah,
Yeah. I think we should wrap this up now.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Uh
We're about to hit an hour.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say Jackie Chan. Like him or love him, like him, love him or hate him. You've got to respect the insane wealth of his career, and he really is something to celebrate.
Yeah,
What a
massively influential figure in
Oh yeah,
cinema.
super influential, highly likable, and it looks like he's not slowing down anytime soon either. For the last, what, 50, 60 years, he's just going.
Yeah, I think his first film was in 62, so he must have been like 8. So he's been acting since he was 8 years old.
Well,
And now
he's in Enter the
61
Dragon.
years. 61 years he's been going.
He's in Enter the Dragon,
Mm.
and that's like 1974 Bruce Lee. But he's not like a main character; he's just a stuntman in it. But if you pause it just right, Bruce Lee hits him with a stick in the
Yeah.
face, and you can pause it. You can see it's Jackie. And I think there was an interview. I'll wrap up. Let's wrap up this Jackie Chan retrospective with a nice little interview moment that I saw with Jackie, where they were like, "What's the highlight of your career?" And he said, "When I was in Enter the Dragon, I was a stuntman on that, and we were doing this scene, and Bruce Lee hit me in the head with this wooden pole, and he just hit me a little bit too hard, and I went down holding my head, and I'm like, oh, oh." And Bruce Lee yelled, he did the thing, and he finished the scene, and the moment the camera went cut, he ran straight to me and he hugged me, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I can't believe it, are you okay? And Jackie Chan said in this interview, now I was a young man at the time, so it didn't really hurt me that bad, but Bruce Lee was hugging me, so I was like, oh yeah, it's really sore, it's really painful. So like Bruce Lee He doted over him. And he said of all the things, of all the stories he could tell you over the many years that he's been working, that's the highlight of his career. And I think that's just really lovely. Because as much as we could talk about how influential he has been, you know, there is another man that whose influence, you know, stretches even further. The god that is Bruce Lee. And we really
Yeah.
should probably do a Bruce Lee month because there's only a handful of films to watch anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately, there really isn't much to watch. That's Jackie Chan month. Craig, we did it, man. My name's Tobias, and I've been your co-host this very fine evening. This is Craig, your other co-host, and
How's it hanging? Thanks for listening, guys.
do follow us on all the social media platforms. We love to hear from you guys, so get on that. On Twitter, we are at Film Shrapnel, capital F, capital S. We are on TikTok, although we haven't updated in a wee while. But some stuff will be coming out soon, I'm sure. And yeah, anywhere else you can find us, I'm sure we are out there. And until next time, Craig, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, keep listening. We love you guys for listening to us. And yeah, keep listening so we can keep doing this, basically.
Love it. That's such a good point. That's such a good point to end on. If you guys stop listening, we can't keep talking.
No,
We need
we'll have
you.
to quit.
All right, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shrapnel.